Hi, I'm Scott Humphrey, CEO of the World Floor Covering Association, and this is Leadership Live. And this week on Leadership by the Letter, the word is time, something we can all relate to. The definition I'm using is the indefinite continued progress of existence and events in the past, the present, and the future. Let me do it again slowly. The indefinite continued progress of existence, our being, and events in the past, the present, and the future. Now, when you hear the word time, you may think of an old grandfather clock and its unique sound, or a favorite watch that you have. You may think of the words time out, which we hear often in sports, and which we as leaders many times wish we had the right to call a timeout too, so we could slow the world down and get a better grasp of everything that's going on. You might think of a favorite song related to time. Mine, by Jim Croce, Time in the Bottle, went something like this. If I could save time in a bottle, the first thing that I'd like to do is to save every day till eternity passes away, and I'd spend them with you. We relate to songs like that because time and its subject matter is something we all have in common. Let me tell you 4 specific things about time. Number 1, it's a limited resource. In other words, we don't know how much time we have. So I love to go out to military graveyards and honor those who have given their life for our freedom. I'll put a little penny on there, which signifies that somebody has visited that gravestone. But on the gravestone, every one of them, there's a beginning date and an end date, and as you've heard me say before, that dash in between. Sometimes that dash represents 10 years, sometimes 50, sometimes 100. But what it doesn't do is tell you what people did with it. It's a limited resource. We don't know how much time we have. We must utilize it wisely. Secondly, it's the great equalizer. We all have the same amount. I'll go into that more in just a moment. But I want you to understand that people may be born differently. Yes, you may come from a family that didn't have as much. I did. But just because you didn't have as much doesn't mean you can't choose what to do with your time. I'm so tired of people using what they were born with as an excuse for who they become. That's who you were. That's not who you can be. Who you can be is determined by how you utilize your time. Yes, time is the great equalizer, but you can use it to your advantage. My father used to wake me up on weekends, me and my brothers, and he would say, "Are you going to sleep your life away?" It used to drive me nuts. In fact, sometimes if I sleep too late, I can still hear that voice in my head. I did not appreciate it at the time, but I do now, because what my dad taught me was, if you get up before your competition, you have an advantage over them. Time is the great equalizer, but you can still use it to your advantage. Number 3, your use of time impacts others. It impacts the lives of others. You have the opportunity to make an impact. Listen to me. I don't know what you do with your life, what you've invented, what time or process you put into, but I can tell you this, those things are not likely to outlive you. What will is the impact that you have on the lives of others. Had a friend whose favorite statement was, "Be present where you are. It's the only place you can be." And yet I see many leaders who are scattered and they're looking at you, but they're not there, and their mind is already focused on the next meeting or something else that they have to do. Charles Francis Adams was the son of John Quincy Adams, and he kept a journal and challenged all of his kids to keep a journal too. And one day in his journal, he wrote that he went fishing with his son Brooke. In his journal entry, he said, "Took Brooke fishing today, a wasted day." Brooke also kept a journal. In fact, we still have that journal today. And on the same exact day, his notation was quite different. He wrote, "My dad took me fishing today. It was the best day ever." Be present where you are. Make a difference, because your time impacts others. Finally, time is a bank account that is replenished every day. Yes, again, people may have been born with more than you. They may have a better last name than you, as it provides opportunity to them. But every day you have the chance not only to be more, but to replenish yourself. Listen, every day you have 24 hours, you have 1,440 minutes, you have 86,400 seconds. The question is, what will you do with the time that you have? Don't worry about what somebody else is doing with their time. You worry about what you are doing with your time. And the great thing is, if you mess up in your utilization of that time today, you get to start over tomorrow, as long as it's not the end of your dash. Harvey Mackay said it like this: time is free, but it's priceless. You can't own it, but you can use it. You can't keep it, but you can spend it. And once you've lost it, you can never, ever get it back. I'll close with this story. Years ago, I was asked to sing at a funeral. I sing at quite a few weddings and funerals, and so I know the songs that are typically used in those events. At funerals, it's often "How Great Thou Art" or "Go Rest High on That Mountain." And so I offered the family those songs, and they said, "No, we want you to sing 'Don't Blink.'" And I said, "You mean the country song by Kenny Chesney?" And they said, "Yes." And I said, "Do you think that's appropriate for a funeral?" And they said, "Oh, yeah. Mom and Dad really loved each other, and that song was one of their favorites." I said, "Then I'll do it." I'm glad I was standing in the balcony as I sang this time behind everybody because the words really wore me out. They went something like this. This is the chorus. Don't blink, just like that. You're 6 years old and you take a nap and you wake up and you're 25 and your high school sweethearts become your bride. Don't blink, you just might miss your babies growing like mine did, turning into moms and dads. Next thing you know, your better half of 50 years is there in bed. You're praying God takes you instead. Trust me, friend, 100 years goes faster than you think. So don't blink. Don't blink. Use your time wisely and use it primarily to invest in the lives of others. And then go out there and lead.